Good afternoon, everyone. This is Susan Patrick with STEM on Us, and welcome to our June virtual Vision Vantagepoint user group meeting. So glad to see you all here today. Our next virtual user group meeting is going to be July 22nd. We do have some tentative topics at this point with billing term best practices, specifically around fee-based projects, some pre-bill functionality, missing billing rates, toll, planning rates. Again, those are tentative. Hopefully we'll firm those up here shortly. As we talk about some of the other great SN webinars that we have one coming up here June 22nd next week about my phone just clicked out on me for a second. Hope you guys can still hear me. We got some other A&E state and local tax webinar presented by our team. And then as we move into July already, which is crazy, July 1st, we're going to talk about the role of client experience driving revenue. Scott Butcher, I don't know if any of you have ever heard him present before, but he is a wealth of information, so don't miss out on that. The Deltek Clarity Study has ended. It is released. If you don't have your copy yet, here is a link to get it on our website, and certainly that's being distributed by Deltek as well. So check out the Clarity Study, and for those of you that participated, thank you. For those of you that haven't, please kind of put that on your radar for next year, because the more participants, the more information, the better the data. When we talk about moving to the cloud, here are some upcoming dates for those of you that are in Deltek's cloud. You need to opt in advance 3 weeks prior. So the June 25th date is cut off at this point. But as you look into the future, kind of keep that in mind if moving to Vantagepoint is on your radar for 2021. And then, of course, Deltek Insight. I believe the signups have started. So if you've attended in the past, I'm sure you're excited about this year's virtual event. For those of you that haven't, it's always a wealth of information. Again, this year it is going to be virtual, just like last year, and there is a very nominal fee to sign up. So please check that out on Deltek's website. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn things over to Stacy, but before I do, we're going to go ahead and pull up the first polling question. Kaylee, if you can pull that up. There we go. Are you using the proposals module? So as we look at people kind of trending here, we got a little bit saying yes in Vision, lesser percentage in Vantagepoint, 10% are saying at this point they don't own it, and the majority say no or not sure. So I think we can go ahead and close that out, Kaylee, and show the results to everyone, just so everyone can get a baseline. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this over to Stacy.
All right, great. Thanks, Susan. Can you guys see my screen okay? Can you confirm?
Absolutely. Yep, that's great. Thank you.
All right, awesome. All right, so like Susan mentioned, I'm going to be providing a high-level overview of the proposal modules in both Vision and Vantagepoint today. I'm not going to be going through the step-by-step directions on how to create a proposal, but we'll provide resources to get you started if you're not already using the proposal modules today. All right, so let's jump in here and start with Vision proposals. Vision proposals, they require a CRM and or a proposal module license, and that licensing, differentiates if you're in Deltek's cloud versus you're hosting your own database on local servers. And the different proposal modules available within Vision include custom proposals, the SF330s, as well as the SF254 and 255 proposals. In addition, Vision allows users to merge directly from the info centers if merge templates have been added for the info center and the user has access to those merge templates through security. All right, so let's go into the Vision merge templates here. In Vision, both Word and InDesign are supported. Use of InDesign does require FileStream be enabled within Vision. And for Word, there's a macro that can be downloaded under Utilities and then Download Merge macro within the navigation tree. And that macro is used to help add specific fields, both standard and user-defined, to your specific merge templates. So it works like mail merge if you're used to doing mail merges within Word. Your final formatted documents, the formatting's all dependent on the merge template, so it doesn't matter if you have, a specific font that you're seeing on the screen within specific memo fields that you're pulling in, all that font size, colors, things like that. That's all dependent on your settings within your actual merge template itself. All right, and then for graphics, if you want to include graphics automatically based on those that are associated to specific records within your info centers in Vision, they would have to be provided within the standard links grid. And in order to be accessible within the proposal modules, that graphic checkbox has to be selected. Okay, and in order to pull those graphics in, you'll have to use the custom proposal module and not merge directly from the info center as well. All right, so for Word merge templates, Vision icons, once that macro is installed, will be available within the add-ins tab within Word. All of your merge templates must begin with a begin and an end statement. And then you have group codes available within the actual macro itself if you want to pull in fields that are typically stored within a grid, such as, client or contact information or maybe project codes, things like that. You can utilize the group codes area within the macro to add those to your specific template. And those group codes also require their own unique begin and end statements. Okay, and as you're working through and creating your merge templates, the files must be saved as rich text files or RTFs. Big difference between Vision and Vantagepoint. Within Vision, text overflows are permitted. In other words, your documents can exceed more than a single page. You can have multi-page resumes, project profiles, boilerplate text, things like that. And accessibility to the specific merge templates is all determined by the user's security role settings. Okay, and if they have access, they can also, like I said, merge directly from the info center by selecting the merge icon up above, and they'll see a list of those available merge templates that they have access to. Okay, one big difference when merging employee information, for example, from the info center versus the proposal module is if you would go to merge resume type data from employees, if you're doing it directly from the info center, you don't have the ability to limit projects that are shown. You would have to go to the proposal modules to build the resume if you wanted to limit it to just relevant projects that employee is associated to within Vision. Okay, and for the merge templates, again, they're managed within configuration, general, and then merge templates, and then they're organized by specific info centers. Okay, you can create merge templates for the standard info centers, but unfortunately, you cannot create merge templates for any user-defined info centers that you might have within your system. And I always recommend, if you are taking advantage of the merge templates, update the security roles for any users that should have accessibility to those merge templates to allow access to all merge templates. Otherwise, each time a new merge template is created, you would need to update the security rules to give access to those specific merge templates. All right, and within the custom proposals, like I mentioned previously, the benefit of using the proposal modules versus merges directly from the info center is you have more flexibility, especially as it's related to resume building. You can pull in, just those relevant projects or maybe just those projects completed within a specific time frame. And based on the fields that you've added in within your resume merge template, that data is going to be pulled from both the employees info center and the projects info center based on projects that you've selected and that are associated to the employee's record within that standard projects grid. All right, so within the 330 proposal modules, Vision allows for a graphical interface that will populate the specific sections of the 330 with data from clients, vendors, employees, projects, and text libraries. And the 330 builder will automatically populate relevant team members, those subconsultant team members within and internal, and your specific offices if you have multiple offices within Section F, the project sheet, based on the associations to the project record, as well as those team members that were, or offices that were added in on the first page of the 330 builder within the module itself. Vision allows you to customize the 330 templates. Those are managed separately from the other merge templates that are used within the info centers or the custom proposal modules. The 330 templates are managed directly within the SF330 proposal area. And here I've provided an example of a state of Ohio modified 330 form that's used for any state projects. And as you can see here, you can add in both user-defined and standard fields in addition to what the federal SF330 requires. So you do have that flexibility within Vision to, modify your templates based on client-specific requirements. All right, so let's jump into some tips and tricks as it relates to Vision proposals. Most importantly, you're going to want to make sure that you're storing your data consistently throughout the info centers for standardized use in proposal documents. In other words, you're going to want to make sure that you've got standard project description categories, standard resume categories that are going to be used by the majority of your records so that you can select that default value to always include within your proposal documents. Also within Vision, it's going to be important that you're storing all of the project data, whether it's descriptions or other metrics associated to the project like total area or square footage, things like that, at the project level within the work breakdown structure only. So if your projects within Vision have phases and tasks enabled, you're going to want to make sure that all that marketing related information is at the project level only, because that's the only area that you're able to pull the data from within the proposals. All right, and you're going to want to make sure, again, that you're utilizing that Deltek provided macro, especially for your Word templates, to add in those fields instead of typing them in manually. And when you go to edit any of your existing merge templates, it's really important not to type within the brackets or, to try to manually select a field, because it can cause some special character errors in Word and cause your merge template to fail. All right, so moving on into the Vantagepoint proposal area. Here within Vantagepoint, the proposal module requires a CRM Plus license. Merge templates from Vision are no longer used or supported. Vantagepoint has a proposal module builder included within their interface. It does require file stream, and currently PDFs are the only supported exports. Word exports, tongue-tied, Word exports are expected to be released at the end of this year, and SF330s were recently brought back into Vantagepoint, but they are available only within the desktop client. All right, master elements or element groups can be created for common proposal areas or sections within Vantagepoint. Examples would include project profiles or firm introductions or specific project approaches, things like that. By creating your element groups, you won't have to recreate your formats and or content when that same record is selected in subsequent proposals. Big change between Vision and Vantagepoint: when you're adding images to your proposals, In Vision, you were limited to using the links, making sure that that graphic checkbox was selected within the grid. In Vantagepoint, you have the flexibility to select from any attached images that have been added within the attachments grid. You can still access the links grid, or you can access any image that's stored on your local network. All right, so some parity items that are not yet available in Vantagepoint 4.0. First one is merging directly from the hubs. You no longer have that capability. Any merges or exports into proposal formats has to be done directly within the proposal modules. And again, merges directly to Word or InDesign are not yet available. Word is coming at the end of the year. And customized templates for SF330s are not currently supported in Vantagepoint. Okay, and that SF330, again, it is still located within the desktop, as you can see here. Any users that are still in Vision and looking to upgrade and have utilized, custom templates related to their 330s, those will not upgrade, and you won't be able to recreate them in Vantagepoint as it stands today. And there are no plans to include the SF254 and 255 proposals within Vantagepoint. And the big difference that's affecting, a lot of users currently is the ability for text overflows to allow for multi-page proposal documents. That is not yet supported in Vantagepoint. You're currently limited to single-page resumes and project profiles, et cetera. That is on the roadmap, but I don't have a date, when those overflows are going to be available. All right, so some hints and tips and tricks for Vantagepoint proposal. Just like the Vision tip and trick, make sure you're storing that data consistently throughout the hubs and utilizing those standard grids for project descriptions and resume descriptions that are available. And also for Vantagepoint, a great time saver is creating those element groups for those common proposal pieces. And one of the big differences between Vision and Vantagepoint, within Vision, when you merge information, you're taking data as it is today within that Vision record. So whatever that project description in, when you merge it, there's no link established. Within Vantagepoint, you can have your proposals in draft mode, which means that if that project record is updated at the hub level, then that information will be reflected within your proposal that's in draft mode as well. But the big catch to that is if a user customizes the description for a very specific maybe client request or type of project or scope that you're pursuing, any changes made while in draft mode would then be reflected within the description in the hub record as well. So just something to keep in mind when you make modifications to those descriptions while in draft mode in Vantagepoint, it's affecting your data within the hub record as well. Okay, and then finally, I have a couple hyperlinks that I've provided within the handout to give users a little more information on the specific proposal resources that are available within Vantagepoint today. Okay, and that is it for me.
Oh, fantastic. Good stuff. And I know that creating proposals from the system is one of those things that a lot of people don't do, obviously from the poll, but can provide you great standards, efficiencies, consistency, and other things. And I know I'm preaching to the choir when I'm talking to you, Stacy, but for everyone else listening, it's one of those things that if you don't have it, you may want to look into it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to our next topic with Seta, and Seta is going to be presenting on moving or creating projects from opportunities, and I believe we have a poll or two before Seta gets started. So do you create your projects from opportunities? This is really interesting. as we're looking at the responses coming in. Looks like about a half of you do, which is fantastic. Few of those are sometimes. Some of you don't own CRM. So again, very much like the proposals module, CRM is one of those great adds to your system to provide efficiencies, lack of duplicate effort, readily available information and reports. So I think you can go ahead and close that out, Kaylee, and just show those results so that it can see that as well. I think this is probably interesting to both Stacy and Barbara also. And then if we can go ahead and pull up our next poll, please. And do you have or use standard phases or tasks for your projects? This is really helpful too as well for you, Seta. Looks like 50, well, actually it's going up. Over 60% say yes, and another 20% say sometimes. So I think for those of you that do, seeing how Vantagepoint works for that, I think is going to be really refreshing. So without further ado, I'm going to put myself on mute, and I'm going to let Seta take it away.
Thank you, Susan. Just let me know if you can see the screen.
Yeah, absolutely can. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Stacy. I've learned a lot working with Stacy on the opportunity side. Finance, we're going to learn to play well with CRM now. We never merged or commingled our databases, but now we're in one hub. So I'm just going to go through the process in Vantagepoint once you get awarded the opportunity. So we're going to create a project from an opportunity in Vantagepoint. And I'm going to actually go right into Vantagepoint to show you some of the options you have and actually set a project up, award it. But what will happen is when the opportunity is set up, once the stage, which is in our summary pane on our project hub, once it's flipped to awarded, Stacy set it up so I received a notification. So while I'm in Vantagepoint and I see the red box pop up with a number, I could click on it and I can see, a project has been awarded. So now I have to do my piece on the finance side to create, the fields, enter some of the key information we need, and billing terms and contract values. So I'm going to go right into Vantagepoint. And you can see right here when I click on my number 2, I have 2 notifications. 2 projects have been awarded. So now it's my turn to flip it into a project that's available for the employees to use for their timesheets, expense reports, and we could start charges to it. So when I go into my project hub, and here's a project that I created today that's just in a proposal stage. This is the opportunity. If you notice on the accounting tab, it's not approved for use in processing. So this is not available to any of the employees to use on a timesheet, expense report, or within AP. So as long as it's an opportunity, we could maintain this data and nobody is seeing it except for viewing purposes, but not for charging. As you can see, when Stacy flipped her project into an awarded stage, once it becomes awarded, I have to, as a finance person, I could turn on the approved for use in processing because that's how my security role is set up. If your marketing or PMs that might be changing the stage have access to make things approved for use, then you have to be aware of what's going to happen next because it's going to be available for all your employees. But on this type of project, I have no WBS 2 or 3 phases or tasks set up. When I click on it, there's no structure. So as soon as I make it available for use and I want to create my phases and tasks, I have a standard format that I'm following. So there's different formats that you could create that additional information from. When I come into other actions, well, let me back up. I'm using auto numbering on our system. if you have a number structure that you want to follow for your project numbers, opportunities are, as we've done in our demo and we've done for many clients, we do auto numbering for our opportunities. Some clients are saying they have a structure they want for their project numbers that doesn't follow their opportunities. So I would take this number here, which is opportunity number, and I would have to key convert. I'm not a fan of this because I don't like to be doing key converts constantly, but I would go down to utilities, go into key conversions, and now on our key conversions, Deltek has broken out a tab for combine records or change number. In Vision, that used to just be a checkbox that you had to do. I'm changing the number. If I add, oops, it's defaulted to accounts, I'm sorry, under projects. For some reason, it always comes into the accounts the first time. So if I type in the project number, I could change the format to be, if I decide I want the year for my projects, and I want the month, and then 001.00. Oops, too many characters. Should have had more coffee today, but they don't let me. So if I want to have a specific project number scheme, I need to do a key convert because my opportunity is a starting point for my regular project going forward in Vantagepoint. Once I hit run, I'm changing the project number. So now I have it following my process of how I want my projects numbered in the system. And opportunities, if it's not awarded, this number will be missing, and my non-awarded numbers will just be in sequential order at that point. So now when I come into my project hub again, I can't find the project because I changed the number. Oops. Just type in all. And the lovely thing about Vantagepoint is really lets you type in much more than Vision let you type in. So now that I have my project number set up with the correct format, I have options to add phases to this project. I have not done, if I haven't done my billing terms yet, if I haven't done any activity on it, I can add a phase to it directly. Once I have billing terms established on this and then I make a change to the job number, I need to do the enable phase to add the first phase to the project. So I have, getting used to the little, so here's my standard project. When I want to add, oops, again, I haven't adapted to the options yet on the project hub because there's so many different options, and I keep forgetting I need to click down to project. If I want to add a phase to my existing project that I have an option of doing it manually where I could just put in the phase number. I can select a project to copy from. And if you were using project templates, I could select a project template. So I do have a project template set up, just one. If I continue, it shows me automatically all the phases and tasks available to copy. If I do not need phase one, I could just uncheck it. So your descriptions could be in here, your phase numbers could be in here, and I could select which ones I want to copy. If this project already had phase 1, 2, and 3, it'll still copy the format over, and I could assign the numbers manually. So maybe we always start our projects with our 3 phases, and then once we establish the project going forward, and there's additional items we need to add in, we could bring in this scheme, the phase and the task levels automatically. So when I hit continue, because this project already has some established, I just put in the phase number in here. And now I could create it and save it. So the setting up of phases and tasks, I think in Vantagepoint is much quicker, more efficient in Vantagepoint than Vision. If I do it manually, it's the same process as what it was in Vision. Add the phase in, and then say I want to add tasks, add each individual task in. And you could also select something from a project number. So if I go into my project in here, where I do not have any phases, my other actions, add a phase. If I select from project, I can select the project that might have all my items set up for it. Oops. I think, yes, that was it. So the system will always show you what you have out there to add in. And if I do not want 2 tasks on the project, I uncheck it. And now I have just the one. So my suggestion is always either set up templates or what I call a sample project that has your phases and tasks already established. That way you're consistent and it makes it easy. There's no typos. Somebody's not entering a 30 instead of a 3. And you could just make a copy of it and it streamlines the whole process. Another problem, so if we're not doing key convert on the project number, you can keep the opportunity number, and once it's established and it gets awarded, finance would turn on the ability. So if we go to our user group meeting, if I come into accounting, once I turn this into an awarded stage, I'm missing some fields because I did not, whoever created this originally wasn't in accounting rights where they have, organization doesn't matter yet. So if I select my org, we always put everything in corporate. On my accounting tab, because I'm from finance, I have the ability to make things available for processing. Once I flipped it to awarded, this automatically checked. So right now, if somebody was anxious to put in their timesheet, they'd automatically be able to start charging time to this project. We still have to set up our billing terms and what I call the budget contract management information. So on the left-hand side on our navigation, things are in the order that you would probably set up a project. Being on the finance side, I'd then come into contract management, then billing terms. But I'm going to hold off on, I want to make sure my structure is all correct before I move on to the next level, especially with the contract management, because we always want to maintain our contracts at the lowest level and it rolls it up to the project level. So opportunities, if we keep the numbering scheme from the opportunities, once it's awarded, it's available for processing. If we need to change our number format, do the key convert first, and then complete your other tasks. And if you notice in the PowerPoint, I just have some quick screenshots of areas that you would go into the system and Vantagepoint to either change your project number, add your phase, and you always have the option of 3 options for manual, project, or template. And we have the option of selecting which range that we want to add in, and we could cherry pick certain phases and tasks, or we could let them all come through. If the number exists, we could overwrite the number. If the number wasn't there, it'll just bring over the numbers that we have from our template or our prior project. And like I said, just go through the process, go into contract management, enter your information, go to your billing terms, enter your data, and then you'd be complete. So right now, Opportunities is helping finance out with the getting the shell of the project set up. Client, project manager, some of the data is there already. Any questions, Susan?
No, actually, I think there is one. This is from Kim. She's asking what if we don't want it to be available for use in processing upon the award, that they want to wait until they actually get the signed contract or maybe some other information from the client or entered in the system.
Whoever, if finance is flipping it to awarded, because of our role, it checks that box automatically. If it's a marketing role or a project manager role that is making it awarded, if they do not have accounting rights in their security role, it will not check that box automatically.
Fantastic. Thank you. I know the setting up the phases and having those templates is certainly going to help the 80% that do use standard phases and tasks and sometimes do that. So some of the great things that they've added into Vantagepoint are really helpful from a efficiency standpoint. And I think what you demonstrated here just kind of shows how business development and marketing on the opportunity side and accounting and project managers can work very closely together. So great stuff. Great stuff.